0 to 60 can define a performance car, but it's the fastest 60 to 0 that's the aim of Tarok's brakes. From road cars to race cars, circuits, special stages, or the autostrada, nothing reduces speed like Tarok's brakes. Italy gave the world the art of Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Tarok's has given drivers the art of stopping. For more information and to acquire your own masterpiece, visit tarox.co.uk. Yes, it's me, Mike Stone, and this is the Backseat Driver Podcast. It's the fastest, it's the friendliest, and it's for all the family. The Gas Shocks 116 Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup are the fastest growing race series in the UK, taking in 6 one-hour races and 8 sprints at all the top circuits. Visit 116trophy.com to find out more and get yourself behind the wheel. I'd like to introduce to the Backseat Driver radio show Mike McColgan, Managing Director of Expressed Steel Panels here in, well, what's today a slightly overcast Keighley until the other day when it was nice and sunny. But Mike and Express Panels make basically what the name says, steel panels or replacement body panels for a whole host of cars, predominantly classic cars, both old and modern. Mike, welcome to the Backseat Driver radio show.
Good morning, welcome to Express Steel Panels.
When did it all start?
Well, the company became a limited company in 1990.
Yeah.
The company is owned by a couple called Jeff and Lynn Coates,
Yeah.
who live in Cowling.
All right.
And they retired from the company some 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And they brought me in to run it and keep it going and move it on. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm here. I'm not really an automotive guy, only that I have a love for cars.
Right. Well, I noticed that in your office there's quite a lot of classic car related things knocking about, especially like myself. You do a lot of the classic car rallies and the historic rallies and things like that.
Yeah, it's a passion. I'm very lucky. I haven't got to say this too often because the guys in the workshop don't like it, but I've been very lucky to find a job that's my hobby as well.
Yeah.
So, or one of my hobbies. So it's really good, I'm a lucky man, that's
Yeah.
what I am. But so the theory behind Jeff's life was he worked for Peter Clark Autos in Skipton.
Yeah.
And he was made redundant in the early 80s, and being a car man he took his redundancy package and went around buying all obsolete gear from all the Ford garages he knew or could find, and began selling it at auto jumbles and that sort of thing. And it became apparent fairly quickly that panels were going to be a big problem, and he devised this process. It's a cobbling together of a number of different processes to do what we do, and it's nothing's actually unique, but when you put all the three of the components together, it's very unique. So this is why we're able to do what we do, and it's very, very interesting and going very well.
Yeah. So, I mean, the era of cars you cover are, I mean, what you might call obsolete cars in many ways, aren't they? Your cars no longer in production.
That's exactly what they are. We call them, our advertisement, obsolete cars from the 50s, 60s onwards.
Yeah.
So I think the earliest car we probably do is a 100E.
Oh yeah, an Anglia.
An Anglia or an Escort or whatever else you might call them back then.
Yeah, so a prefix and things like that. Yeah. They had a whole host.
Yeah,
and they determined the specification of the car, didn't it?
Whether it had lights and whether it had indicators and
how
many gears it had.
And if it had a bit of chrome fitted to it.
Exactly. And it was that was the only car that we did that was not a, well, I forget the terminology for the engines that they had.
Yeah.
But that's the only model we do that was that type of engine.
You mean like a side valve?
A side valve, the words escape me. So that was the only side valve model we did anything for.
Yeah.
So we don't do sit-up and vents or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Console Capris, we do a lot of panels for 100Es, Ford Anglia 105Es, Hillman Imps, Avenger, all sorts.
So I noticed when you come into reception, there's a big display on the side with all the panels for all the cars you do. You've like Ford Pumas and things like that.
Yeah.
And most people don't realise that the manufacturers, when they discontinue a car, they very rapidly discontinue all the parts. There's certain ones, Mercedes-Benz still produce panels for everything, but a lot of manufacturers, when a car is discontinued, they discontinue the parts for them, not just body panels, virtually everything, very quickly.
Well, the rules regarding cars and when they become obsolete, it's exactly 10 years and a minute. So when they discontinue a car, for instance, they stopped the Escort in 2005, I think.
Yeah.
10 years and a minute after that day, they scrap all the parts.
Right.
Because obviously it's not really in their interest for us to be keeping cars we love. They want us to buy new ones.
Yeah.
So it's completely obvious business plan that you don't keep it old. It's interesting that you make the German manufacturers are a good bit different.
Yeah.
Volkswagen still make a lot of parts for Mark 1 Golfs.
Yeah.
And you can still get parts for 356s and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
BMW is still very, very strong looking after their marks.
Yeah.
But what, if you like, you could term English cars, well, there aren't any anymore.
No, very, very true. I mean, I think it was a while ago now, the most English car you could buy was a Honda. Apart from the fact it was a Japanese name and a Japanese company, they made them in England. I suppose you could say the BMW Mini is English.
Well, it is, that's right. And the Mini, BMW are very, very protective over the traditional Minis. It's they keep control of what's made and by who and when. So they see it as a trademark, they see it as a brand, and they don't like it to be interfered with.
Yeah. So all these panels, I mean, how do you go about manufacturing them? I conclude you have to have original panels to start with.
Yeah, that's the start, and the only thing that's quite unique. We probably have 1,400 panels in manufacture, but we probably have 1,100 panels waiting for the rainy day when somebody says, can I have, for instance this morning, can you do a sill for a Escort Cosworth?
Yeah.
Well, yes we can, but we don't make them yet.
Yeah.
The day will come where the Escort Cosworth guys go, we need them,
Yeah.
and so we'll start manufacturing them. We're currently doing Subaru Imprezas.
Oh.
Same thing. They've got them, you can't get them.
Yeah.
But we can make them because
I think the problem with the Impreza was because they kept homologating new models.
Yeah.
The Imprezas changed an enormous amount over a short period of time.
It did, but then lots of cars don't really change as much as you and I think.
Yeah.
In the Ford Capris are a good example, and the first Cortinas, cross-flow and pre-cross-flow.
Yeah.
Well, they only really changed the front panel
and
the engine, obviously, but that's all the difference. So they didn't change a lot. The Mark 1 and 2 Escorts, same floor plan. Mark 3 and 4, same floor plan. 5 and 6, same floor plan. Most of the internals were the same.
Yeah.
Only the exterior ones where they changed the headlamps.
So they're more of a cosmetic change than anything else.
More often than not. And exactly why that is the case, we don't really know. But we have a theory that it's because the tooling wears out.
Right.
So rather than put a new tool in exactly the same, well, let's change it a bit. We can facelift this car. We can make it a Mark 6.
Yeah.
Because the Escort 5s, there's a 5B and then a 6.
Right.
They're only facelift.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a change. So we surmised from that there was a problem with the 5B when they made the facelift, whether it wasn't selling because they didn't like it, so they said, well, no, we'll call it a 6 and change it. So there's lots of things that you won't get. Ford won't tell you this, BMW won't tell you this, but from where we look and see what happens in the market, there's a lot of that went on all along.
Now, to make body panels, I mean, I've been fortunate over the years to visit a lot of the major manufacturers and watch them make their body parts, their body panels, and they're stamped out in like big presses. Do you use the same method, or do you use something completely? Because you're not producing them in the quantity that a manufacturer is for a current car.
Well, this is where Jeff was a clever man, and we do use stamping, but we use a low melt alloy to create the tool.
Oh.
So it's, shall we say, it's reusable, it's recyclable.
Yeah.
So, because the actual methodology was brought into place for prototypes, really. Let's see what this wing looks like.
Yeah.
So they'd melt the alloy and then put a cast into it.
Yeah.
And then they'd be able to press a few to see what it looked like.
Yeah.
Now, that was the end of that. They then made a steel tool and that went into production. Like you say, they press, I don't know, well, I think some of the tools would press maybe 150,000 panels before they'd need renewing.
Yeah.
The tool, the way we use it, we can only press about 20.
Right.
But that's ideal for the market that we're
servicing. You produce a lot of different body panels for lots of different cars, but because they're now older cars, they're classic cars, you won't need to produce them in the quantity of a production.
Well, the market
car.
isn't there.
No.
There's no market for anybody to want 200 panels for a Ford Cortina.
Yeah.
Whichever Cortina you pick.
Yeah.
So it's the way the operation works is because we have the original, and because we use the low melt alloy, we don't damage the original.
Right.
We use that to cast, for want of a better description.
Right.
And then once it's been cast, we turn the heat off.
Yeah.
We open the press, take the original panel out, in what we term as a tub,
and put it away safely.
Put it back in the cupboard for next time.
Yeah.
And then we can press 20, sometimes 30.
Yeah.
And that's enough to keep us going till we need it again, if you see what I mean. So that's the process.
Yeah. Which tend to be the most popular or most in demand panels? Because, I mean, before we went on air, you were saying it's not just England, you have a global market for these.
We do. It really all depends on, a lot of our historical market is where British cars went. So we supply Hillman Avenger, Hillman Imp, Ford Escort Mark 1 and 2 parts to Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. But also, for instance, the Hillman Avenger was called the Plymouth Cricket and they put them into America.
Yeah.
So there's panels go there. Sierras are kind of quite a new car for us, but very, very popular.
Yeah.
And again, the Americans had what they called the XR4 Ti, which was like our XR4i, but it had a turbo on it.
Yeah.
Under the Mercury badge. So there's nowhere we can't go, and if we can lay our hands on original panels so we can keep the quality, there's nothing we can't really do.
Can you use a panel that's been taken off a car, or does it have to be a new one?
It really depends. We can, if it's the last panel in the world, it depends how good it is. If it's
a bit tatty, it won't do.
No, if it's rusted away, you'd have to rebuild it. So then you lose the authenticity. For instance, you could find a wing for an Escort and it looks fine when it's painted.
Yeah.
And then the first thing we would do is put that away and get it stripped. So that we got back down to bare metal. You might only get 30% or 50% of the panel back.
Yeah, because
so
the one thing I do know is when somebody's having a car restored or having the proper job done, the shells are dipped, which means all the panels are dipped. What doesn't look a bad shell or a bad wing, when it comes back, it looks like a laced oily.
Very often the case, you see. So we can use second hand if we think they're fit for purpose. Yeah. But we don't like to, because even some of the original panels we had, for instance, we've done panels for Minis whereby I've bought new old stock back panels and they haven't been right. But that's for a Mark 1, you know. Yeah. Mark 1 Mini finished in 63. So you can find them, but then you get them and they look fine, but then why have they been sat in that chap's garage for 60 years? You know?
Because they don't fit.
So we have that problem to get over, but the marketplace has changed up to probably, I don't know, maybe let's say 1995, maybe a little bit later. You could go to an auto jumble and buy panels everywhere. Yeah. Because the motor industry changed, and whereby garages would have had stock. It's a Ford garage, it'll have plenty of stock.
Because it's like you just said, the guy that started it used to go to the dealers and buy up their old stock and things like that. So I mean, I can remember going to the car shows years ago, and say you had a Ford Cortina, you had a Hillman Avenger or whatever, you could more or less come away with a complete body for it.
Yeah. Well,
okay, in component form, but you could go on with everything you needed.
They were there because, you know, the garages had them, and as the garages, businesses write stock off, so then somebody lands and buys their old stock off, it's a bit of a bonus.
Yeah.
But they might not be good quality, they might be old and rusty and destroyed, but then you find some gems, and so that's what it's the way for instance, we have had to take a Hillman Imp to pieces because we couldn't find the panels,
right,
and we had to pay, I'm going to say, big money for a Hillman Imp shell, but the shell was actually from California.
Oh, right. And so technically it should have been in good condition. Well, it wouldn't, because it's nice and warm and hot and dry.
We only had one panel off it that was an issue, but everything else we've been able to dip and get it back and say, yeah, we can go with that.
Yeah.
So the Hillman Imps have got a fair support mechanism now, and we do the same, and we'll do it for anybody's car. We're doing Honda S2000 arch repairs.
No.
Because they said, can you help? I said, can we get an original panel?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Right, well, we can help. Because they were scarce, the original panels, and they've gone all together now. But because the club themselves were, if you like, front runners and thinking about tomorrow. Yeah. They said, well, you buy these now, and then we'll buy them off you. Yeah. And we've made quite a few panels for them.
Right. Yeah. Do the manufacturers ever come onto your Ford panels?
No, we make some panels for car modifiers, should we say? Yeah. Limousines and hearses and that sort of thing. We make some very specialist stuff. Yeah. That sort of outfit, but no, we don't hear from car manufacturers at all. And it's quite interesting. We were talking about Ferraris and Astons and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I mean the thing about a Ferrari and an Aston is they tend to use what's called superleggera, which is there's this beautiful thin tubular frame made of alloy that the steel panels are then hung on and put over. Yeah. The problem is the alloy and the steel react, and that's why they all fall in bits again. Yeah. And the other thing is these are all hand-built panels, and like we were saying, you can get yourself a beautiful Aston Martin, a classic Aston Martin, get your tape measure out and discover it's an inch longer on one side than the other because they were all handmade.
And that's obviously would be a problem for us, because if we made a wing for a Vantage, which we could do, it might not fit every model, so why would you do that? I mean, these guys really should be thinking about their process a little bit more, but it's difficult because I don't know, because we're not in those circles. I don't know how many Astons there are, how many Vantages are, how many DB7s, I don't know. So, but they could probably look to us to say, well, we want 10 of these a year, and we could give them, give us the ones you want every time, and they might be better off working from the panels and building the panel and then put them on a cock in afterwards, if you like. But then you see the panels were the most difficult bit because they would only be mass producing things. So Fiat wouldn't have been interested in pressing even 200 Testarossa wings at all. They wouldn't be interested. It wouldn't be cost effective. It's easier to get a man to do it, which is, well, this is a bit of theory because, as you said, we don't talk to them, they don't know of us, I don't think.
Now, you mentioned Fiat there. Besides the raft of English cars, you just said like the Honda S2000, do you produce much for foreign built cars?
Not a lot. It's growing, but you see, we're only a small outfit. We're not really looking for work. I mean, that sounds a bit crass, really, doesn't it? We're always looking for work. But it's not. We're not without it, if you see what I mean. So we wait for people to come to us, really. I mean, we do the classic car shows and want to talk to everybody. So we're not hiding our, under a bushel or anything. But it's quite difficult to grow because of the skills that I need these guys out here to have. They don't grow on trees and they don't grow in Yorkshire at all. There's just no. If we were in Coventry, we could probably go a lot quicker because there's a lot of guys down there still doing old style Jaguar, Land Rover, Aston Martin. there's a company called AH Spares that
Austin Healy's
almost build them now because they've been able to take pressings from us.
Yeah.
And they've got guys who've got the skills to finish them.
Yeah.
But I can't poach them, they won't move north. They don't know how nice it is up here, but they...
So they won't come to Yorkshire? Says me, Yorkshire's favourite Lancastrian. So, as time goes by and as cars become obsolete, do you keep an eye on what the next thing is to be...
Well, we
and how do you go about deciding it?
It's kind of guesswork and kind of looking back to see what happened.
Yeah.
Motorsport's a big plus. If a car gets into motorsport, there's likely to be people wanting to keep them.
Yeah.
So the Escort Cosworth, we knew, and I think 10 years ago they bought a Cosworth shell and took it to pieces.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't go to the auto jumblers because Escort Cosworths weren't out there.
Yeah.
So we have the panels waiting for a rainy day. We do the floor pans at the moment for them. But we don't do much else. But you see, people who've got them have always looked after them. So there's not many.
Well, the problem was a lot got nicked as well, didn't they? So they could come back crumpled.
Well, yeah, and you know, it's like everything. You look back, the RS 1800.
Oh yeah.
For the Mark II, the Escort world's a massive world in rallying, as you know.
Yeah. Well, you can't attend a classic rally without there being a raft of Mark 1s and especially Mark 2 Escorts there, a lot of which didn't start life as rally cars, but they got turned into them.
Well, that's right, and we've had some we were talking earlier about not having contact with manufacturers. We've had a lot of contact with Ford.
Yeah.
They approved our panels because they were getting a little bit cross of people bringing in RS 1800s from South Africa. Because the guys at Ford said there were never any RS 1800s in South Africa.
Yeah.
We know exactly how many there are.
Yeah.
And we don't like the fact that people are buying them and spending big money on them.
Yeah.
And they're not getting the real McCoy.
Yeah.
You know, we don't mind them being replicas. That's fine. We've no issues with that. But don't be selling cars that aren't RS 1800s as RS 1800s. And we were able to save in Mexico. Chappie had bought wings off us 10 years ago. And he'd moved house and he sent the form in to the DVLC and DVLA, and they rejected the car because it didn't have the wings on and it didn't have the stamps where they needed the stamps.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let me talk to them. And rung the chap and said, this fella is having trouble because he's moving house. He's not looking to sell it. He's just changing his logbook.
Yeah.
And I can't prove that he put the wings on, but I can prove that he bought them off us in such a date.
Yeah.
And they gave me V5 on the back of that.
Right.
So, but they're only really interested in the sports cars sort of thing. So, whenever they've been a bit sporty, there's a good chance they're going to come through. We do Evo 789 arch repairs.
Right.
Because again, people are keeping them, and there's money in them, so they can see the value of keeping them in good nick. We started on Renault 5s.
Oh, right. Because of course with Renault 5s, you have the Renault 5 and then you go up to the the Gordinis, the Alpines, the Maxi Turbos, all which had different wings fitted to them.
They did, but then the Mark 1,
the simplest one,
is 90% is the same as the Gordini.
Yeah.
Just odd bits change.
Yeah.
And the Mark 2's the same. It's a little bit difficult in France because, well, I hope I don't upset any French people, but the laws in the land of Europe are that anybody can sell anything anywhere.
Yeah.
In France, you can't sell a car panel for a French car.
Oh.
So I can't technically sell in France.
Yeah.
If they'll confiscate it at customs.
No.
And it doesn't really apply to us because we don't really get involved, but there are a few manufacturers who make panels for French cars and not allowed to sell them in France because Renault don't want it to happen, Peugeot don't want it to happen, and one thing and another, even though they're not making them themselves.
Yeah.
And so there's a European law that the French are ignoring.
Right.
Probably not the first time. If you see what I mean. But so we don't do a lot in France, but in Italy they look after theirs. They've got companies who make Fiat 500 bits.
Yeah.
The old ones, the new ones, everyone, so that's quite well supported.
Yeah.
In Germany, the same, as we were saying. So although we don't really break into those areas, for instance, we do, well, I say we're beginning to, we do a lot for the BMW 2002.
Oh, yeah.
But we're just through one agent.
Yeah.
Because they supplied us with the originals, so
yeah,
we make them for them. And we're trying to get into America because from a business point of view, it's the biggest market for classic cars.
Yeah.
By a long way. And they seem to have a lot going on and a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there's panels that are being missed that we could make because of the volume side of things. So we're trying to, we're still not scratching the surface really of what we could achieve if we can find staff.
Yeah.
If we can find panels, if we've got enough time, it's just. But
is the building big enough?
Yeah, well, no, but there you go.
And we're in a big building.
It just keeps going and going and going. You see.
Yeah.
So from the point of view of the business, but the thing about us is we are car enthusiasts as well.
Right.
We run Annie the Hillman Avenger estate car.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you've not seen her knocking about, she knocks about. She's done as the Roots rally cars were.
Yeah.
But where they were the Chrysler Blue.
Yeah.
She's Express Green.
Right.
So, and she knows about a little bit. She lives in Cowling, and the production manager.
Yeah.
He's got an Hillman Imp. Right. And his son had a Mini, and now he's got an Opel Kadett. So we've got problems. We have been afflicted by the disease.
I was going to say, it does get hold of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I've always been into old cars, initially because I couldn't afford new cars, and as time's gone on, you suddenly realise that old cars have character. You've got to be able to drive them. I'm known for not being a fan of I knock about well, it's a 19-plate Fiat Panda, but I just like Fiat Pandas. I just think they're a load of fun to drive. They're in my opinion, it's the modern 2CV, and I literally love Citroën 2CVs. Yeah. So, from your own point of view, you're a bit keen on doing a bit of rallying, aren't you?
Well, I do like it. I'm not in a position to do it. It's a shame. I'd love to. We follow rallies. There's nothing better for me to see an Escort or a Manta 400 or an Hillman Avenger going sideways on a hairpin. I think it's one of the greatest sights I've ever seen in my life. Now, I know that ages me, and I know it saddens people who think I'm a proper saddo, but the fact is, I saw Jimmy McRae and Russell Brooks on Oliver's Mount in Scarborough, 1988, 9, and they came up the hill and went round the corner sideways, and it was like watching something off streets of San Francisco. It was just fabulous watching it, and I've always, from that day to this, everything else has got in the way, obviously. Yeah. Marriage, mortgage, kids, but I still always love it. And we go up to Grisdale, or we sponsored a chap called Barry Jordan, who.
That name rings a bell somewhere.
Yeah. Well, he's a big man. He's a great supporter of the BT IDA. Yeah. And he runs Avengers and all sorts. He runs Mitsubishi Galant. He's got what's probably the fastest Avenger ever been built. Yeah. It's a fantastic thing, and he bends it now and again, so it's got one or two of our panels on it.
So you're quite keen on these events if they put a tight corner in where somebody's likely to bend one a little bit. Not damage it badly, but it'll need a new front wing.
No, don't be upsetting me customers. But you see, the rally guys, as you know, they're kind of a little bit of a different breed.
Rally driving, it's like a form of mild insanity in a way, isn't it?
It is, and that's a sport that gets you. Yeah. But to watch, and some of the guys spend so much money in it that it's absolutely frightening. Yeah. And it's a shame that it's not being supported as it should really, but then the world changes, doesn't it? You see, not being disparaging about any other form of motorsport, but I'd prefer a forest rally to PTCC. Yeah. I just do. I think it's more fun, even though they're not racing against each other. Yeah. I
think the other thing is as well, I know we're slightly drifting off subject, but classic rallying, historic rallying is proper rallying. I mean, I won't name the co-driver, but he is a very famous old co-driver who, when I was chatting to him, I wasn't interviewing him, about rallying as a whole and the modern rallying and everything else, and his comment was, I don't think modern rallying should be referred to as rallying. He said, because it isn't. I mean, they're very fast and they're very spectacular, but he said rallying's not a 9 till 5 job. He said, but if you look at modern rallying, it is a 9 till 5 job. There was a big rally not long ago, and it rained and all the roads turned muddy and all the drivers complained. The historic boys chuck them knobbly tyres on, lads. Rough.
And they also did it for 4 days.
Yes.
Not 4 hours.
Yes, and they had to have spotlights fitted and things like that, so they could see where they were going. Yeah. But from the sounds of it, expressed steel panels isn't going anywhere, it's only going forwards.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And times are quite difficult at the moment. COVID hasn't helped us.
Yeah.
Brexit hasn't helped us at all.
Yeah. The French haven't helped you. I say that because the French diva herself will be listening.
And it's but then it's going forward. It is going forward, and we want to know. We want to know what people want.
Yeah.
People got if they've got old panels, we'll buy them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a case. And I'm not looking for a cheap new. We know the market price of things. You know, we know what cars are worth and what people will pay. We don't expect to pay less.
Yeah.
But the good thing, if they're a bit philanthropic, and they look at what they'll do is, if I haven't got one and they sell me one, that might keep those cars on the road. Infinitum, really.
And as we all know, classic cars have paid their green and environmental dues. And they're better looked after than most. But
it's very true.
Mike McColgan, MD of Express Steel Panels, a Yorkshire firm here in Keighley, setting the world of classic cars alight. Thank you very much for joining me on the Backseat Driver Radio Show.
You're welcome. Thanks very much for coming.
Rarely beaten on price, never beaten on service. Whether it's cars, bikes or commercials, Hoddy Tyres are the best in the business. And when it comes to tyre expertise and advice to supplying the correct tyres for your vehicle's specific requirements, nobody comes close to David Lakin and the Hoddy Tyres team. So give them a call on 01200 613 192 or visit the website at hoddytyres.co.uk.